Hey everybody, it's Tripl-L, and now let's talk Shokugeki no Soma or Food Wars chapter 234. So, we continue the Takumi plotline, I guess, and we just, get ready for the judging. Throughout the chapter, we get a few details. The most important ones, I think, are Aizen's strategy and then Takumi's opinion, or like his statement about not having grudges. Those are pretty much the most important parts of the chapter. And now we're just at a point where we gotta like start, bracing ourselves for the outcome. I think that Takumi's still gonna win. I think this is a pretty simple hurdle to clear. But either way, the authors can make it reasonable, right? Because we're just seeing dishes, because it's all about cooking. Depending on how the authors want to spin it, you know, it's that type of thing. They can just spin it whichever way and it'll work, because there's no easy way to judge food when you're a viewer. Anyway, let's talk about the more interesting aspects of the chapter, and let's cover Aizen, because Aizen, what he does in this chapter is something that gets a bit of criticism from the rebels, but then it's judged fair by the judges. And all I could really say to that is like, yeah, obviously it's gonna be a fair move. Obviously it's gonna be cool. Like, man, I read that part and it's like, oh, that's really smart. That's so smart. And then you have the rebels pointing out, well, no, that's really scummy. But it's like, no, it ends up being smart. So the rebels try to point out the, I guess, foul play there, but I kind of agree with the judges, and I'm really curious, do you guys agree with the judges? For me, the way I see this is pretty much, Aizen is super skilled. He is skilled enough to know, or knowledgeable enough to know ingredients and what ingredients can do. And it was also very interesting that the majority of the student body doesn't know that artichoke can do that. Mind you, I didn't know that either, but it's a culinary school. I would have thought that in some basic culinary class, that they would have taught them about the special functions of ingredients. I guess that might be some pretty esoteric knowledge for a culinary school, but moving on from that, that's just a minor point. It's just with the artichoke thing, I just think that's really clever. Like, Aizen is making a giant assumption here. He's assuming that Takumi is trying to enhance the sweetness of his meal, and he might very well be, but it's still a major assumption. Like, maybe Takumi put a trick in there. Maybe he has a trick and he's not going for the sweetness. Although I'm pretty sure that Takumi confirms that he is going for that kind of sweetness, because Aizen has his whole evil villain thing where he even asks good old Takumi about the delicateness of his dish. Actually, I don't think Takumi confirms the whole thing about sweetness. Regardless, the idea that this is foul play, it's like, no, this is just respect. If this was a hardcore battle, like a hardcore battle, manga type battle, this would be the equivalent of someone studying up on his opponent, what his opponent does in battle, and then bringing in a strategy to specifically counter that opponent. Like, how can you knock that down? You can't. It just doesn't work that way. Like, that's just smart. So, Aizen trying to do this, going with a strategy to specifically screw over Takumi because he notices what Takumi's strategy is, I think is absolutely intelligent. And of course you have Alice there, and she's also speaking about how professionally people do this, and that's just a trick. It's just, I think, taking advantage of a biological effect that is caused by an ingredient to make your other dishes have a better taste. I think that's masterful. I think that's a good use of the trickery of the body. Awesome. Mind you, yes, I guess it's kind of scummy, but it's also very smart. Like, where do you draw the line? I am very curious I'm curious to know what the author intends to do with that. I want to know if, from a narrative perspective, the author wants to paint that as being a bad thing that Aizen did. Because even when you have Anne defending it, you have a very ominous look on her. So with that kind of thing, it's like, if the author is legitimately trying to paint that as a bad thing, it's like, no, that's not bad, that's smart. Like, you have to make the distinction. But because you have also Alice justifying it, you know, it makes it seem like this is a more balanced thing. Although I don't think they had to make Anne look so ominous there. And of course, Aizen is a ridiculous character. He's ridiculous just by the virtue of the faces he makes, and you know, just to comment on the art for those faces, like always, it's amazing. But he's entertaining to watch at the very least. Going and seeing Aizen's grand scheme, seeing him just do the, oh yeah, I got you now because your pizza's so delicate you can't adjust the flavor afterward. You know, it's kind of amusing. He's a really fun character to look at, if just for the faces. Now, Aizen is playing mind games, and we do get that confirmation from Sato. He does point out that Takumi fell for it or just got a little bit more fired up, and then Aizen's pointing out the whole thing about how Soma could have done it better. You know, I think him bringing up Soma's name like that, I think that's, you know, I think Aizen could do with some more pride. But anyway, yeah, that's all within Aizen's character. I wouldn't expect anything less from him. And then Takumi's thing is all that he, well, he says he doesn't have any grudges. And Aizen points out a really good fact there, in that it was Subaru that was doing a lot of the heavy lifting for what was going on. And so now it's just a question, like, is Takumi lying? Does he actually hold a grudge? Because, like, just a few chapters ago, he said he wants to pay him back for his treatment or for his care during the autumn elections. Pay back sounds a lot like a grudge, or like a vested interest in doing harm to another person through food battles. So, you know, I just think it's funny. I do want to get the full explanation on what exactly Takumi wants out of this. I want to hear it in his words. I don't want Aizen to be the one explaining it to us. I want to hear it from Takumi, because this is just, oh, this is just ridiculous, man. Just beat him. That's all you need to do at this point. Anyway, you know, another thing to take into note is that Aizen does get his segment of cooking ability shown, and yeah, overall that's pretty cool. Like Nikumi makes the mention of the meat that he's using, and we get to see some pretty fancy knife play. I thought that was pretty cool. I kind of want to see how the judging's going to go for him. I wonder if this is an issue where he got too arrogant and maybe overused the artichokes. I want to see what we're going to pull here. And also Takumi's faces, since we're talking about Aizen and all his abilities with his facial expressions, Takumi's faces are very serious, and I really enjoy it. Like, a serious Takumi is the best Takumi. But we end off the chapter with them starting the judging. I am very curious, and I think it's pretty nice that we've already started judging. Like, that's great that we're moving through it so quickly. This will be the first this will be the first verdict that we're gonna get. I'm pretty excited. I want to see this. I want to go through these chapters relatively quickly. I want to just know what we're gonna get. Now, if Aizen goes down, that'll be great. Takumi will have accomplished a goal, and he will, I don't even know how to say, like, yeah, he'll have gotten something that I think could be compared to Soma's accomplishments. Now that he's specifically fighting someone that was that's messing with the judge's palate, I think that'll be really interesting. Although, you know, it's not just simply the copying aspect anymore. I do wonder if this is enough of a victory. Like, if they start saying that Aizen was pulling his punches because he was adjusting midway through, if he was adjusting his recipe midway through, I think that will cheapen Takumi's victory. But ideally, they'll say, like, yeah, Aizen was going all out on that, and Takumi was able to beat him regardless. I think that's the best way to have Takumi salvage his pride here. Other notes that I want to say for the chapter, I can't really think of anything, actually. No, I'm pretty sure I had something in mind, but yeah. It's not popping up anymore. Anyway, let's call it there. Guys, thanks for watching. Let me know what you thought down below. Let me know if you enjoyed this chapter. Like, it is a continuation of a battle, with the most interesting thing being Aizen's faces and his plan here. It'll be interesting to see what happens next week. I'm rooting for Takumi just because might as well give him the victory. But we'll have to see. So, till next time, thanks for watching, and I hope you have a great day.